So what are we going to do about this Nicene Creed as our sacred text? With every tradition, we have at the big test a study of the sacred text. And this has maybe been the hardest part so far for people, trying to figure out what you want me to do with a sacred text. How do we do this in a religious studies class? So I'd like to try to hit that hard and quickly with you here. First of all, let's ask the question, why in the world did we choose the Nicene Creed instead of a reading from the Bible? And this gets even more interesting when you look at reading number 6.2 on page 230, where you see the synoptic gospels, the Matthew, Mark, and Luke, side by side, so you can compare who used what, who shared the same kinds of sources in creating their gospel. That would have fit really nicely with my introductory lecture in terms of how, from a biblical studies perspective, we can create a mosaic of Jesus more than we create a singular story about Jesus. But the academic perspective instead is one of effectively putting together the sources, the form, and the redaction to create a mosaic about a person of such impact on global history. So that would have been a good choice. So why in the world did we go with the Nicene Creed? Ask yourself that. Why would she use this? One of the reasons is that I want you to leave this class with some of the main tumblers of history in place so that you can understand when it comes to Christianity that the 4th century and the Council of Nicaea, 325 AD, was one of the biggest tumblers that gets put into place. And why I can make that claim is that to the extent with a global Christianity that you could say Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and somebody would be able to understand, oh, you mean Christianity, then it is this doctrine, this creed, that created the template by which all 3 continents, what I described as the continents of Christianity, the Catholic, the Orthodox, and the Reformed churches, Protestant churches, all 3, if you say Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, they will have shared, they will have been born out of this or still had their roots in this document. And that's not something you can necessarily say by pulling out sections of the Bible. So this is a key point. This is a document that's representative of the axial age. Right? That idea that around a couple centuries before and after the year 1, there are across the globe the creation of larger urban centers that creates the creation of priestly classes and the creation of doctrine that gets written down, and authorities, spiritual authorities are developed. So this is also classic kind of document being produced. It means that you have roads, you have travel, you have scholarship, you have authorities related to positions of power, right? By the time of the Nicene Creed, we've got Constantine, who has the empire, goes Christian. After an empire goes to a religion, you can expect there to be produced doctrine then, and the authorities, the spiritual authorities, providing stamps of conformity, so that to standards to which people should be held. That at this same doctrine, you're hearing 2 things in here that you won't find in the Bible. You won't find the idea of the Trinity in the Bible, and you don't find any substantiation of a Virgin Mary, right? And so not only do we have the authorizing, people are arguing about this Father, Son, and Holy Spirit thing, but you also have the establishment of proper female religious subjectivity in this doctrine. And so It's clear that a feminine symbolic is important to these guys, and it means that there's a developing prevalence and attention among the people to the figure of Mary as an intercessionary figure in their world. A little bit hard to go to the big guys sometimes, but women especially, bring your problems to the Virgin Mary. She will understand you. She is a mother. She knows these things. And so they're also going to be concerned with how do we think about the feminine in this religious world. So we end up with a Virgin Mary here. And the third thing I want you to understand is that every time in any of our religious traditions that you see something written down, that means there are arguments happening. It's easy from our perspective to look back and say, oh wow, look at how everybody agreed and this was the truth of the time. What we've read and what we know is that for 250 years people kept fighting really hard fights about this stuff. There are still today Arian Christians who are still fighting Arius' fight. They are called Arians. So I want you to leave this class knowing that the written down doctrine does not mean everybody agreed. It means everybody was fighting, and a proclamation is made to quell the arguments. But, and here's an important note for this test, this doctrine creates the need for the next council in Chalcedon. So know what happened. Why did this one open the problem then of this Christ's nature? What do you do with a God who gets killed on a cross? So you need to know that this tumbler of history, what is the next piece? What is the next problem? What else would I want you to know? Know your century, know your geography, know the 3 continents and their relationship to this document, right? And at the time of this document, we've only got the 2 continents starting to really build and argue with each other, the East and the West. The East is the dominant at this point. The East becomes the Orthodox Church. The West becomes the Roman Catholic Church. And it's not until the Reformation and the Enlightenment that we end up with the Protestants happening. But they also adopted the creed. Yeah, that's my take on why we're doing this for our sacred text, how to prepare for it, understand that it is a moment in history. It leads to the next set of arguments. And good luck. Thanks for listening.